Do you have a dream of your staff someday running your practice for you, but think it's just a fantasy? Let me explain a few things. Number one is that there are three types of employees in a business. There's the founder, the dreamer, there's the manager or executive, and there's the technician. You know, when you're treating patients, you're a technician in essence. But when you first open your doors in your own practice, you're all three, right? Well, what I've come to realize is that, and maybe you have too, is that if you're doing all three of those functions, the founder, the dreamer, the manager, executive, or the technician, if you're doing all three of those, you have this ceiling. It's tough to bust through that ceiling and serve more people. And if your intention is to help as many people as you possibly can and to create abundance in your life, you got to look at these different positions and decide who are you going to be, right? So here's the deal: to replace yourself out of position. So I want to go over a couple of things here. I want to define a few things. There's this phase 2 and phase 1. When you first start your practice, as I was saying earlier, and you are in every single area of your office, what we define that as being in phase 1, you're actually doing the work. Phase 2 is when you actually graduate from doing something. So as an example, you put front desk systems in and you hire someone to run your front desk and they push you up and out of that area. Now you're phase 2. You still know how to run the front desk, but you're no longer actually in it. Does that make sense? Or when you get an associate and you replace yourself from adjusting, and they're now adjusting patients and you're not adjusting patients as much anymore, or you're not at all. You've gone from a phase 1 to a phase 2. The key thing here is we want to implement as many systems as possible to make the practice more efficient and in less need of constant management. So an example would be having care plans in place. You know, I speak to many providers out there that still go visit to visit to visit, when in fact we know, if you look at the 3 phases of healing, right? The inflammatory phase, the repair phase, the remodel phase takes up to 12 to 18 months for someone to actually fully heal. Depending on a patient's condition as they come in, putting care plans together makes the practice more efficient. Basically, the front desk has less to do each visit. They don't have to collect every time they come in. They don't have to schedule every time they come in. You put systems in that allows them to do that up front, so they're not doing that every single visit. Does that make sense? So again, it's putting systems in that and putting training in that allows you to phase out into of certain areas, so that you can gain more freedom, which by definition to me is allowing you to do what you want to do in the practice and not be a slave to everything in it. So we also want to make sure all job functions are defined and documented in job descriptions, and then train the staff on them. You should have daily and weekly training, okay? Another thing that you want to do is encourage your staff to take full charge of their jobs and empower them to make decisions. Monitor how they do and guide them as needed. You know, put a staff member on a statistic. Have them have a valuable final product. Valuable meaning it's exchangeable. They know exactly why they're doing what they're doing. Delegate all functions that shouldn't be on your plate to the right staff member in your practice. If they are not trained on these functions, train them up to do them. If you do not train them to do it, you'll forever hold that job position, which makes you an overworked executive, right? You want to incentivize performance with bonuses and rewards. So when you create this culture where people are being rewarded for what they're doing, there's this excitement that ensues, and people and your team gets really grooved in, and you're all operating off of a purpose. So these are all things to look at when you're looking at phasing out of your practice and getting staff to do more of the work. So I hope this was beneficial for you. We'll see you on the next video.